Rick Ross knew perfectly damn well what he was doing and what that would lead.
In his career that you'd have any respect for?
No, there's nothing there. There's nothing there. I never wanted to work with him.
I'll buy your masters. You ready? I will buy your masters.
That guy out of all of this.
Who's the bad guy? I don't think there's a bad guy.
No, yes it is. That Vlad, let's talk about it.
I think Meech is the one that made a mistake.
No.
No? You think 50?
No.
Lil Meech?
No.
Who am I forgetting now?
Rick Ross knew perfectly damn well what he was doing and what that would lead to.
50 Cent is living it up right now, like he's got front row seats to the messiest drama of the year. Word on the street is Rick Ross pulled a fast one on Big Meech, and it's being called one of the wildest scams ever. And now, Big Meech is rumored to have put a hit out on Ross. Yeah, it's that deep.
But here's what's crazy. Everyone saw this backstab coming, except Meech himself. Social media is going wild like it's the final episode of some explosive reality show. But let's be real. What did Meech think was going to happen dealing with someone who used to be a correctional officer? That part alone should have raised flags. Now 50 Cent's been throwing slick shots all over social media, and not just at Rick Ross. He's also aiming at both Big Meech and Lil Meech ever since Ross tried to play him out publicly. The wildest part? Big Meech came out of prison acting like Rick Ross was some kind of savior. Dude was smiling ear to ear, real cozy with Ross, like they'd been tight for years, instead of showing love to the one who actually held it down and kept things solid while he was locked up. And get this, Meech knew damn well Ross and 50 been beefing for years. Now 50 wasn't out here expecting Meech to go to war with Ross just for him, but seeing Meech cheesing in photos with Rose, acting like Rick Ross been the one holding him down all this time, that had to hit 50 like a sucker punch straight to the throat. But the backstabbing didn't stop there. Meech just kept on twisting the blade deeper. Not only did he team up with Rick Ross, but then he went and linked up with Floyd Mayweather too, someone else 50's had issues with. And Lil Meech? He was out here making slick moves just to spite 50. Like seriously, is that how you treat the guy who gave your son a whole $5 million and launched his career? That's cold. People love to say 50 Cent made millions off Big Meech's name. And maybe he did. But at least he built something real from it. A whole empire came out of that. But what did Rick Ross do? Nothing but treat Meech like a pawn in some slick game of chess. Ross saw this drama coming from a mile away and played it like a pro, chasing clout, soaking up all the attention, and puffing up his ego. And when things started getting too hot, what did Ross do? He dipped out fast. The man pulled away before folks even knew what was really going down. And here's the kicker. Right when it all started getting messy, suddenly Ross popped up with a random shoulder injury and made sure everyone on the internet heard about it.
I'm doing right now, my shoulder broke, but we still getting to the money. We still counting paper. This ain't a pump and dump, baby.
Like, come on! Now we're supposed to feel bad for him? Please! But it gets even crazier. That shoulder excuse? It wasn't just about stepping back quietly. Ross was using that injury to make a clean getaway from the whole Big Meech situation. Facts. Ross wasn't just using that shoulder injury to dodge drama. He was also ducking his own fans. The same fans he scammed with that shady crypto coin, Boss Token. Folks all over the internet started calling him Rug Ross because of how he straight up yanked the rug out from under anyone who trusted him with their money. It was a straight up money grab, and yeah, when it all came crashing down, he hit the ground hard. And let's not forget, this injury popped up just days after he lied to Big Meech and got exposed. Now tell me that's not suspicious. That timing says everything. And check this. Word on the street is Ross was the one gassing Meech up behind the scenes, telling him to pressure 50 Cent into upping his payout. You can't make this up. Now Big Meech is out here with nothing to his name, and people in the industry are swerving him like he's radioactive. Even artists who used to ride with him are keeping their distance. And those Wingstop franchises that folks thought Meech was gonna eat off of? Turns out, Ross allegedly sold most of them, left maybe 2 behind, just so he could funnel that cash into his real estate hustle. Cold move. If Rick Ross hadn't stepped in and started playing Puppet Master, Big Meech might have had a real shot at making a solid comeback in the game. But instead, he kept making one bad move after another. And Lil Meech? Man was out here blowing millions on Chrome Heart's jeans, trying to flex and keep up with stars like Gunna. Like that was ever gonna end well. Now, everything they built is gone. Poof. The internet's clowning Big Meech left and right for how fast that fake friendship with Rick Ross blew up in his face. And one of the loudest voices right now? Michael Rainey Jr. He didn't hold back. Dude flat out said he doesn't feel bad for either of them. Said they're both grown men and should have seen this whole thing coming from a mile away. And of course, 50 Cent somewhere online doubling down, throwing jabs and saying, "I told y'all." You already know how wild 50 gets when he's locked into a beef. Even DJ Vlad's been chiming in, co-signing how messy this whole thing really is. 50 Cent is the last person you want to cross, because if you do, he'll light the whole house on fire just to prove a point. No mercy, no chill, he's all about making a statement. And let's be real, Big Meech ain't even the first person Rick Ross left stranded out in the cold. Ross did the exact same thing to his own crew. Left his people to get jumped in Canada, then came back like nothing happened and said it was all a test to see how tough they were. That's next level shady, diabolical even. But honestly, that's just how Rick Ross been moving this whole time. Smooth talker in public, snake moves behind the scenes. Even Whack 100 wasn't having it. He straight up called out Ross, saying he's the real villain in this whole mess between 50 and Big Meech, and he claims he saw it coming from the start. Rick Ross was never a real one to Big Meech. Let's just call it what it is. He knew exactly what he was doing from day one. He gassed Meech up, played him like a loyal ally, and slowly turned him against 50. All while making flashy promises about setting him up with money moves and opportunities. But in the end, it was all just empty talk. And as much as folks don't like to give Whack 100 credit, he hit the nail on the head. If Ross was really serious about helping Meech bounce back, he would have kept it quiet and moved in silence. But instead, Ross was out here cracking jokes on 50 and running his mouth about buying the rights to the BMF series, knowing full well he was never about that life. Now, none of that's happening. Zero. Ross has gone radio silent when it comes to Big Meech. He's only pushing whatever's gonna fatten his own pockets now. And Meech, he ain't part of that plan anymore. And here's the part that's got everybody's jaw on the floor. Word on the street? Rick Ross was the real reason Big Meech's welcome benefit party got shut down. But the whole time, he had everybody thinking it was 50 Cent's fault. Straight misdirection. And why would Ross pull a move like that? Easy. He didn't want Meech stacking wins or making a real comeback in the spotlight. Ross wanted Meech stuck in his shadow, controlled and quiet, while he played the nice guy role for the cameras. Real sneaky. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, he was making sure Meech stayed broke and out the way. And when 50 finally posted, then deleted, that message saying, "I had nothing to do with this. Please stop calling my phone. I sincerely hope you have a nice day today. Happy Valentine's Day. I'm stronger than you think I am." That was his way of saying, "Don't play with me," without even raising his voice. Cold move. A lot of folks didn't believe 50 at first, but now, everything's starting to add up. Big Meech was walking around thinking Rick Ross had his back, mostly because of that BMF track where Ross famously rapped, "I think I'm Big Meech." That line had Meech thinking Ross was paying homage. But here's a wild thought. What if Rick Ross didn't just want to honor Big Meech? What if he actually wanted to be him?
How do you feel about the rapper Rick Ross having the same name?
Well, the fact that he stole my name, not that we had the same name, he actually stole my whole story, my identity, the whole thing. You know, he built his career off of my legacy.
Think about it. Rick Ross has a whole track record of building his brand off the backs of real-life kingpins. This ain't even up for debate. His whole rap name? Straight jacked from the real freeway Rick Ross, the infamous drug kingpin who was locked up while Ross was blowing up. And when the real Rick Ross got out, he called him out hard, even took him to court, claiming the rapper stole his identity. This all kicked off in 2005, and by 2010, the real Rick Ross had filed a trademark lawsuit saying the rapper was using his name and legacy without permission. But here's where it gets wild. In 2013, a judge sided with the rapper Rick Ross. Why? Because Rose had money, fame, and massive influence. And let's not forget, dude was a former cop too. That right there still has people scratching their heads. So everything was already tilted in Rick Ross's favor. And get this, the judge who ruled in his favor said his use of the name was protected under First Amendment free speech. Just like that, the real Rick Ross lost the case, and William Leonard Roberts II got to keep the name and run with it. No penalties, no consequences. So with all that in mind, is it really that wild to think Ross tried to run the same exact playbook with Big Meech? First, he drops that BMF track shouting, "I think I'm Big Meech," like it was a tribute. Then, the moment Meech steps out of prison, Ross slides in real smooth, acting like he's got Meech's back, talking loyalty and big plans. But when it was time to actually help Meech make a comeback, Ross vanished. Poof. And this ain't even the first time he's pulled a stunt like this. Let's not forget what he did with Larry Hoover back in 2021. Ross been name-dropping Hoover in his songs for years, chasing clout off a man who was still behind bars, while selling the image of being tied to real street legends. Word on the block? Ross had to drop millions just to the gangster disciples just to keep using Hoover's name in his music without catching real heat. Man's been playing this identity game for a long time. But when it came time to actually stand up for Larry Hoover's cause and show real support, Rick Ross went ghost. For real. Instead of putting in any real work to help the movement, he just kept name-dropping Hoover in songs, cashing in on the legacy without giving anything back. And people noticed they weren't having it. To this day, folks still say Ross fumbled hard, claiming he was too scared to even show his face at the stadium when it really mattered. And now, here we are again, watching history repeat itself. Same playbook, different name. No wonder 50 Cent once said he's never respected Rick Ross as a man. 'Cause let's be honest, Ross could flip on you without warning. And you know 50's somewhere right now smirking at all this chaos. He didn't even have to lift a finger this time. The whole situation just blew up on its own. While Ross is out here ducking heat and Meech is watching doors close, 50's out there stacking checks, building new projects, and keeping it moving. Meanwhile, Big Meech and Lil Meech are out here, jumping from celeb to celeb, allegedly asking for help just to keep their heads above water. Wild times! And let's not forget the wildest twist in all this. Rick Ross was out here clowning 50 Cent, calling him broke, cracking jokes about how he couldn't secure a loan to launch his movie studio. But guess what? Just a few days ago, that loan got approved. Now Ross is watching in real time as 50 levels up, and it's crystal clear. 50 is not the guy to underestimate. Fans are convinced Ross is probably somewhere punching the air right now, especially since not long ago, he was out here bragging about buying 50's masters. Yeah, looking back, that flex sounds real silly now. Straight cap. As for Big Meech and Lil Meech, it's looking like they've both learned some hard lessons. But truth is, it might be too late for 50 to take Lil Meech back or offer Big Meech another shot. That bridge might already be in ashes. And let's talk about Zip with the Drip. He's been speaking on this drama from the jump. He said from day one that 50 was telling the truth about Big Meech. He even predicted that Ross would eventually switch up and leave Meech hanging. And now, that's exactly what's happened. The streets are talking heavy, and a lot of fans are saying the same thing. Big Meech's run in the industry might really be over. 'Cause let's be real, the only shot Big Meech had at a real comeback just got wrecked. You'd think after all that time behind bars, he would have come out sharper, maybe even with a clearer mindset on how to move in this game. But nah, it's looking like the complete opposite. One user summed it up perfectly. Let me get this straight. A former corrections officer flip-flopping on somebody who did time in prison, who could have seen that coming. And then a two-faced dude getting played by another two-faced dude? There's a word for that. Karma. Yeah, And this karma came hot and fresh, straight out the oven. But now I want to hear from you. Do y'all think Big Meech is secretly plotting to get back at Rick Ross for the betrayal? Or is he just gonna let it slide and stay quiet? Especially now that there's talk he might have even betrayed his own childhood friend, Cuff. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you were feeling all this drama, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more heat. Hit that notification bell so you never miss another messy update, and I'll catch y'all on the next one.